The second question, let's look at 5a. 0 to 360 basically, not including 360. Cosine of 5x equal to 0. So we want to do cosine of 5x equal to 0. Okay. Let's see, cosine is our x. Cosine of what, 90, and then 270. So that means that 5x either needs to be equal to 90 degrees or 5x needs to be equal to 270 degrees. Okay. Those are the two angles on the unit circle. If you look on the unit circle, that's where cosine is 0. That's when your x is, sorry, I'm getting that confused. X, y? Yeah, that's right. On the unit circle, cosine is going to be 0 at 90 degrees and at the top and the bottom, basically, if you look on the unit circle. So then if we solve, and let's generalize this. So this going to be, needs to be 90 degrees plus, and this repeats every 360, so plus 360 in degrees. And this will be plus 360 in degrees, because cosine repeats every 360. Now if we divide by 5, then x is going to be, that's a 1, 40, that's an 8. 5 into 360, that's a 7, 10, 2 in degrees. So then we got to see, as we increase n by 1, how many results do we get? So that's one of them. Let's do this other one. So then x is going to be, that's a 25, so that's 5, 24, 0. And then 72 in degrees, okay? So now, on 0 to 360, let's see how many results we get, okay? So when n is 0, we should get 18. So from here, we get 18 degrees. When n is 1, that's 82, that's 90. When n is 2, so I'm going to break out my calculator for this. So what I'm going to do is go to my y equals, I'm going to say 18 plus 70, 72x. I'm going to quit, clear, variables, y variables. No. When I plug in 0, my answer should be 18, right? When I plug in 1, my answer should be 90. Then I'm going to do 2. That's 144, 154, it should be 162, okay? So I get 162. Let's keep going. Then I'm going to do 3, 234. Then I'm going to do 4, 306. And I'm going to do 5. 378 is too big, so 5 goes too far. Okay, so 5 goes to 378, so that's past 360, so we're not going to include it. Now let's do this other one. We got 54 plus 72x. Okay, now we say y1. Now when I plug in 0, we should get 54. When I plug in 0, we get 54. When I plug in 1, mm, 126. Okay. And when I plug in 2, I get 198. And when I plug in 3, 270. And when I plug in 4, 342. Then 5 should be too much. And it is. Okay. And then the other thing before we count these, we need to make sure that these work in the original. Okay. So now I'm going to go to my y equals and clear. I'm going to say cosine of 5x, close parentheses, quit. I need to make sure that I'm in degrees, which I am. Clear. I'm going to pull up that function. Now, when x is 18, the result should be 0. Cool. When x is 90, the result should be 0. Cool. When x is 162, the result should be 0. Cool. 234. Okay. 306. Okay. Let's come over here. Now we plug in 54, the result should be 0. Okay. When we plug in 126, the result should be 0. Okay. 198. Okay. Then 270. Okay. 342. All right. So hopefully we should have gotten all the results. I did the best I could. Okay. So we got. Let's see. So for this one, so 0 to 360. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 10 results for 5A. Let's go on to 5B. Sine of 4x equals 1. Okay. So then 5B, we have sine of 4x equals 1. Right? So then basically sine of what is 1? Sine of 0, 0. Sine of 90 is 1, and that's it. So that means that we need 4x to be equal to 90 degrees. And then this repeats every 360 degrees. Okay? That's the only time when sine is 1. All right. So then, if we're going to solve for x, we divide everything by 4. Let's see. That's a 2, 10. It's a 2.5 plus, what is that, 90 in degrees, okay? So we need to see how many of these results are there between 0 and 360. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my calculator. Going to go to my y equals. So I'm going to do my 22 point. Let me check and make sure that's correct. 90 divided by 4. Oh, that's not it. Clear. 90 divided by 4. 22.5 is good. I'll go to my y equals. 22.5 plus 90x quit. Okay. Variables, y1. So now when I plug in 0, I should get 22.5, and I do. So we get 22.5 degrees. Then I want to plug in when my n is 1, 112.5 degrees. And when my n is 2, 202.5. Then when my n is 3, 292.5. 292.5. And when my n is 4, 382 goes off the chart. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's check in the original to make sure that these all work in the original. So if I go to my y equals, I'm going to put in sine of 4x, and my result should be 1. I'm going to quit. I want my mode to be in degrees, which it is. I'm going to pull up this function. So now, first when I plug in 22.5, I should get 1, and we do. Then I'm going to plug in 112.5, we should get 1, and we do. I'm going to plug in 202.5, we should get 1, and we do. And the last one, 292.5, and we get 1, okay? That's about the best I could do there. So how many results? We'll say 4 results. 0 to 360. Okay? I'm loving the questions, having so much fun. All right, let's do this last one. So then this is 5C. Okay? So we have 2 sine of 3x. So 2 times the sine of 3x minus 1. Cosine of 2x. So times the cosine of 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Right? So now we can invoke the zero factor property. When you have two factors that multiply to give you 0, then that means either the first one has to be 0 or the second one has to be equal to 0. Okay? So then if we solve, I'm going to add and divide. I get my sine of 3x equals 1/2. We'll get that. Subtract, or we can say cosine of 2x equals a -1. Okay, let's work on the left first. Now, sine of what equals a half? So from the unit circle, 1, 2, 3, 1 cosine sine, that means 30 degrees. So whenever we're 30 degrees away from the x-axis, we get a positive half. So there are two times when we're 30 degrees away from the x-axis. If sine x is our y is positive in quadrants 1 and 2. So that means when we're 30 degrees, and then 180 minus 30 is 150. So that means we need 3x to either be 30 degrees or we need 3x to be 150 degrees, okay? Keep in mind that sine repeats every 360 in degrees. So plus 360 in degrees, okay? We're going to come back and simplify that. Now, when is cosine -1? So cosine starts at 1, it goes to 0, it's -1 there. So that's 0, 90, at 180 cosine. So that means that we need this 2x to be equal to 180 degrees. Again, cosine repeats also every 360 in every 360 degrees, okay? So now let's simplify these results. So we have 3x equals 30 degrees plus 360 in degrees. We got 3x, I'll put a comma, equals 150 degrees plus 360 in degrees. We have 2x equals 180 degrees plus 360 in degrees. Now, after that first one, we divide everything by 3. We get 10 plus 120 in degrees, or x equals 50 degrees plus 120 in degrees. Divide by 2, x is going to be 90 degrees plus 180 in degrees, okay? So then we kind of need to count. So I'm just going to use my calculator again, go to my y equals and clear. First I'm going to do 10. Yeah, I'm wrapping up. 10 plus 120 times x, okay? Now if I quit, I just want to, that's fine, variables, y variables, now y1. Now when my x is 0, I should get 10, okay, and I do. So I get 10 there, 10 degrees. When it's 1, then we should get 130. Okay, so we got 130 degrees. Then when it's 2, that's 240, so it should be 250. Okay. When it's 3, that's 360, so it should be 370. Oh, 370 sounds like it's too big. Yeah, that's above 360, so that's it for that list. Now, let's go and change it, and we'll say 50 plus 120x. Okay? Clear variables, y variables. Now, y1. When n is 0, we should get 50, and we do. So we get 50 there. When it's 1, that's going to be 170. Okay, and we get it. It's 240, 290. So when it's 2, it should be 290. And we get it. Okay. When it's 3, 3 is too much because then you're going to 360, and that's going to put it over our target. Okay. So then, let's do the last one. We got 90 plus 180x. So when x is 0, it should be 90. We got a 90. When it's 1, it should be a 270. And we get our 270. And then 2, I think is going to be too much. Yeah, 2 goes outside. Okay, then the only other thing we need to do is check all of these results in the original. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my y equals, right? I'm on the TI-83 plus. I'm going to put in the original as I see it. So I'm going to say 2 times the sine of 3x, close parentheses, minus 1, close the second set of parentheses, then open the second set, times the cosine of 2x plus 1, close the second set. Now my result should always be 0. I should be in degrees because that's the numbers that I'm working with. Even though they technically should be in radians because of the way it was given. Let me see. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, because it says 0 to 2 pi, but I do everything in the degrees, and then at the end I go back and convert to radians. So it's easier for me to see. Okay, so I'm gonna go to variables, y variables. Now I got to check when I plug these in into the original, we should get 0. Okay, so when I plug in 10, the result should be 0. Cool beans. When I plug in 130, the result should be 0. Okay. When I plug in 250, the result should be 0. Okay. When I plug in 50, the result should be 0. Okay. When I plug in 170, the result is 0. When I plug in 290, the result is 0. When I plug in 90, the result should be 0. And when I plug in 270, the result is 0. Okay. So I confirmed that all of these worked. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 results from 0 to 360. That was fun. Okay. I think we answered all the questions. The only thing is with like some of these trig questions, you kind of have to be leery about not getting all the results. Like, it's not too terribly bad to get correct results, but then to get them all, you just have to you have to work it a few times to kind of work out all the kinks. Okay. So with that, we will end this session here. And again, I don't think we're live. So if we can't answer any more questions, from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your day.